For 30 years, this was the deal. You gave them a single dollar bill, and they gave you a meal. It was the golden age of fast food. It didn't matter if you were a broke college student or a millionaire in a rush, the dollar menu was the great equalizer. It was cheap, it was fast, and it was everywhere. But if you walk into a McDonald's today, that world is gone. The prices on the menu don't make sense anymore. A hash brown costs $3. A value meal costs $16. The cheap food didn't just get expensive, it became a luxury product. Now, if you ask the news, they'll tell you it's just inflation. They'll blame the supply chain. They'll blame the cost of beef. And sure, that's part of the story, but it's the boring part. Because if you actually look at the financial reports, the math doesn't add up. Fast food prices have risen 200% faster than the rate of inflation. This wasn't an accident, and it wasn't a tragedy. The death of the dollar menu was a calculated execution. It was a specific strategy designed in a boardroom to fire you as a customer and replace you with someone richer. In this video, we are going to open the books. We're going to look at how the loss leader strategy turned into the premiumization trap, and we're going to explain why the era of cheap food is never coming back. To understand why the dollar menu died, you have to understand why it was born. Rewind to 2002. McDonald's was actually struggling. Their stock was down and people were getting bored. They needed a way to get people back inside the building. So they invented a financial weapon, the dollar menu. On the surface, it looked like charity. A double cheeseburger for $1? It seemed impossible. And that's because, mathematically, it was impossible. This brings us to the first concept you need to know, the loss leader. For 20 years, these companies were perfectly happy losing money on that burger. They didn't care if the meat, the bun, and the labor cost them $1.10. They were happy to lose that dime. Why? Because human psychology is predictable. Almost nobody goes to the drive-thru and just buys a $1 burger. You buy the burger, but you also buy the fries, and you buy the soda. That soda is the key to the entire empire. The syrup and water in that cup cost the company pennies, but they sell it to you for $2 or $3. That is a markup of nearly 3,000%. The cheap burger was the bait, the soda was the hook. For 2 decades, this unspoken agreement worked perfectly. You got cheap food, and they made millions on the margins. It was a symbiotic relationship between the corporation and the consumer. But then, the math changed. And when the math changed, the corporations decided the agreement was over. For 2 decades, the loss leader machine printed money. But in March 2020, the machine broke. When the world shut down, 3 things happened at the exact same time, a perfect storm that destroyed the economics of cheap food. First, the supply chain shattered. Almost overnight, the price of beef, potatoes, and transport didn't just go up, they became volatile. You couldn't predict the price of a burger bun next week, let alone next year. Second, the labor revolt. For 30 years, fast food relied on one crucial ingredient, cheap labor. But suddenly, nobody wanted to work for $7.25 an hour during a global crisis. To keep the lights on, franchises had to double wages. Third, and this is the nail in the coffin, the loss became too big. Remember the math? They used to lose a dime on a burger to make $1 on a soda. But with rising costs, they weren't just losing a dime anymore. They were losing 50 cents, then 70 cents. Suddenly, the soda profit wasn't enough to cover the bleeding. The loss leader wasn't leading to profit, it was just leading to loss. In a normal world, companies would just raise prices a little bit to survive. But these corporations didn't want to just survive. They looked at the data and realized something terrifying. They realized that the customer who buys the dollar menu is actually their worst customer. They are price sensitive, they don't buy the high-margin premium items, and they complain the most. So, in 2021, the executives made a quiet decision. They didn't just want to raise prices, they wanted to change who they were selling to. They stopped chasing the high school student with $5 in his pocket and started chasing the remote worker making 6 figures. The dollar menu didn't die of natural causes. They took it out back and shot it so they could replace it with something much more profitable. So, the dollar menu is dead. But what replaced it? If you look closely, you'll notice that fast food companies are pushing you towards one specific place: the app. Walk into a store and a meal is $12. Order on the app and you might get it for $6. Why the difference? Are they just being nice? No, they are training you. They realized that selling you cheap food anonymously was a bad business model, but selling you cheap food in exchange for your data, that is a gold mine. This is the new strategy: personalized pricing. When you use the app, they know exactly who you are. They know what you buy, when you buy it, and crucially, how much you are willing to pay. This allows them to play a game called price discrimination. If the algorithm sees that you only buy lunch when there is a discount, it will send you a coupon. But if it knows you buy coffee every single morning at 8 a.m. regardless of the price, it won't give you a discount. It might even charge you more. We saw a glimpse of this dark future when Wendy's accidentally leaked plans for dynamic pricing, the idea that a burger could cost more during lunch rush than it does at 3 p.m. The public was furious, so they walked it back. But make no mistake, this is the end game. The dollar menu was a promise that everyone pays the same low price. The new model is a digital trap where the price depends on how desperate you are. You aren't just a customer anymore. You are a data point. And the goal isn't to feed you cheaply. It's to extract the maximum amount of money you are mathematically willing to part with. So, will the dollar menu ever come back? The uncomfortable truth is, no. We are living in a new economic reality. The era of cheap abundance, subsidized by low wages and cheap supply chains, is over. The value menu of the future isn't about getting a deal. It's about data, apps, and extracting maximum profit from every single bite. The corporations have done the math, and they have decided that the customer who needs a $1 burger isn't a customer they want anymore. So the next time you drive past those golden arches and wonder why the prices look like a fine dining menu, remember this: it's not just inflation, it's a shift in the fundamental logic of the world. The dollar menu didn't just die, it was murdered, and we are the ones paying for the funeral. If you want to understand the hidden mechanics behind the economy that the news won't tell you, make sure to subscribe. We are investigating the entire system.